Tyler Perry versus Kenya Barris or whatever?
Next week.
What is the argument?
Next week. I want you to watch it.
I'm not going to watch it. I've already put my foot down.
You know what we could do?
I'm not going to watch it now. I'm not going to watch it. But I like the argument, and I'll have the discussion.
Nah.
Kenya Barris is the guy who made Blackish, Brownish, all the ish shows. Tyler Perry is the guy who made Tyler Perry Studios based off of the millions and millions of dollars he's made off of Medea and all the other like movies and television shows that he's made. Yeah. And the argument is that Kenya Barris is making television for white people to indulge in black culture, and Tyler Perry makes television and movies for black people to indulge in their own culture. Is that more or less?
It's pretty good. Yeah.
The thing. And so what is the discussion that
another layer to it is that black people can't speak out negatively about other black art because we have very little opportunities in Hollywood. So if you knock black art that's currently out, it lowers our chances at more opportunities. But the downside to that is by not knocking the shit that's whack, then
you'll never get the shit you want.
Exactly, and we'll create whack shit.
And
another side to that is that white people can't say anything bad about black art also. So you'll have like a black movie, won't mention names, and then it'll have a 99 Rotten Tomatoes.
Get out.
Like it's the best thing that's ever been created.
Right.
But it wasn't that fucking revolutionary, but it's just because if a white person comes out and says, oh, this movie wasn't that good, now it's like, oh, you're just knocking it because it's
Which one was Get Out? Was that the one, the upside down one?
Nah.
No, that's where they kidnapped the black people and turned them into white people.
That's the movie about Jordan Peele's life.
That was Stepford Wives, right?
That's Jordan Peele every time he's been attracted to a woman.
Right. So when he...
That's Jordan Peele making a movie about how awful white women are while only dating and marrying a white woman.
A white woman, yeah, of course. This is him projecting or something. Yeah. But yeah, for me, I don't think there's anything revolutionary about the story. It's Stepford Wives, right? That has existed. This is a story that's
but it got
told.
99 on Rotten Tomatoes because everybody
That's
was
a great
afraid
point
to say.
that white people are not allowed to criticize minority art because out of fear, like it would be perceived as racist.
That's why the female Ghostbusters got like an 85% from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes,
and everybody's
like
like, this shit is trash.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that these are, and then the same thing with the Asian movie. What was it? Something.
Crazy Rich Asians. Not a good movie.
Not a good movie, but white people are like, oh, I love Crazy Rich Asians.
I mean, same thing with Nanette, and then the Chappelle special was inverse.
Yeah.
Where like Rotten Tomatoes was trash on it, but the audience rating was super high.
So has Chappelle transcended his blackness? Now Chappelle is just because
Chappelle is going at quote unquote like lesser minorities or like people who are more minorities than black people.
Right, I understand.
Trans, whatever.
I understand why the criticism, right? Because he's not going along with like the way Hollywood, sets up its ideals. But why is he criticizable despite his blackness? And I think it's because he's transcended his blackness. I think Chappelle has just become Chappelle, not black comic Chappelle. Let me just make the point. And so it's like once he's become that, now you could criticize him if his opinions are not in line. Because the argument that they're making right now is you can't criticize black art because of blackness, not because of the opinion within the art.
Yeah.
Right. So Chappelle was highly criticized and he was knocked for his special because he went after these groups, but maybe he's transcended his blackness so that you can't criticize him where you couldn't do that with somebody else.
I think there's like a unspoken hierarchy like of minorities within like liberal white people's mind.
Right.
So when Tracy Morgan says some shit that's not a good joke, but he's like, if I have a gay son, I'm gonna kill him, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a black person, but you're going at gay people. They are more minority or whatever the word is. They're more oppressed. So you can't say that. It's just, you can't punch down as this ideal that's been beaten into their minds. And if they feel like you are punching down to a more oppressed minority, then whoever you are, it's not okay.
So to the Chappelle point, those white people that were being critical of Tracy Morgan, they see him as Tracy Jordan from 30 Rock. Those are the same white people that watch 30 Rock. Those are the same white people that have maybe propped up Tracy Morgan to be this character, and all of a sudden that character was saying things that didn't align with who his character was on the show.
I think this is a slur, so it's different. And I'm just trying to think of whatever examples pop into my head at the moment.
I'm just saying, like, they hear the same rappers say, like, those white people will not criticize Jay-Z or they'll criticize, like, any rapper for saying, homophobic lyrics, this, that, the other. I think they're only willing to come at the people who've kind of transcended their blackness in a way. who became these like family names and like
Rap is hard because I think there's like a weird white people are so afraid to talk anything about rap that they let them get away with stuff they would never let a comic get away with. Rap is like its own, like white people are scared to even delve into those waters of what's offensive lyrics and what's not.
right.
But if a rapper said some shit not on a rap song that was homophobic or whatever, I think they'd be like, yo, you can't say that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Like if they say something on their social media or whatever the case is, people will come for them. But if they say that same thing in a song, it's like, oh, for some reason it's untouchable.
It's
like,
untouchable. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it is interesting. I don't know. I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I just feel it's like a weird, unspoken thing that everybody just abides by.
Which is
All the things that I listed before, like white people can't knock black art, black people can only show appreciation for other black art or
Nah,
stay
but they used to
quiet if you don't
before
like it.
up until like a year and a half ago, black people used to shit on everything Tyler Perry. Like if you were woke black at all, you would shit on all Tyler Perry. I remember Red Tails coming out years ago, and all my like woke black friends were like, yo, don't watch. I think a Medea movie had come around at the same time. They're like, don't watch that shit. Watch Red Tails. Yo, that's a movie about black people, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Red Tails was like a Steven Spielberg movie. You're just giving money back to a white guy.
Yeah.
Tyler Perry, that's trash. Don't go see that. That's going back into a black person's pocket who has a black studio in Atlanta, but somehow that's not cool to you. And then Twitter just caught on to what Tyler Perry does.
So I wouldn't say I vocalized it publicly, but I used to think on that same sentiment, and I was like, I don't like Tyler Perry films because like the characters in there are very stereotypical and like not coonish, but like dance, you know, and they're extra hood, extra all the negative connotations, whatever that word is, that associated with black people. But then we felt that, oh, okay, if he gets popularity with making those movies, then those are going to be the only roles for black people. That's why we knocked that shit. Because like I can still watch a Tyler Perry film and laugh at it, but
Medea is a hilarious character, objectively.
I'm hoping that that's not the only movies I'm going to see.
Yeah, but you know what helps is black movies doing well. And also, the people I know that like Tyler Perry movies were black. So if my market, like if my people like this, who am I to shame them for liking anything we put out? Like, I hear people try to say Russell Peters is like offensive because he makes accents. Indians I know growing up, we all loved Russell. So if he's making shit for us, who the fuck are you to tell him he's wrong or us we're wrong for liking someone that looks like us doing stuff that makes us laugh?
Yeah.
That's
No,
why I don't
I
understand
agree.
the wokeness of it all.
I've switched sides since. Like, you know, I appreciate what I like and I knock what I don't.
Is Tyler criticized by Southern blacks as strongly as he's criticized by like
I think he's
Northern
only criticized
and
by
California
woke blacks.
That'd be mine.
So it's like,
But
depending,
the
doesn't matter
woke
where they
blacks kind of exist in like New York and California.
They're more here.
Major
They're there,
cities.
but
They're
they're more
coastal,
here.
right?
are. Yeah.
I'm just curious because maybe their life within blackness is not relatable to what Tyler talks about. And maybe the characters that Tyler talks about seem cartoonish to these like New York and California blacks, but maybe they're like really relatable to figures in their lives to the Southern blacks. Like maybe they have an uncle that's like
think
that. They
that's,
have an aunt like
I
that.
think it's a good
They
point.
have a big mama. You know, they have these people that operate really similarly and they're like, this isn't that crazy. You think it's cartoonish, but to us it's not. Like that Duck Dynasty show, I bet in New York and California, white people are like, it's a bunch of hillbillies. I bet if you go down south, it's like, nah, I got an uncle that wears, what is it called? Army fatigues or whatever that shit is.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Forgot to go. Wears army fatigues or whatever every single day, just like that. So I wonder if it's just a lack of relatability. And one of the problems with like looking at blackness as a monolith, like looking at one type of blackness, and then when you don't live up to that type of blackness, you're like, oh yeah, this doesn't make sense. I think the most interesting thing about like the Black-ish show or like the Tyler Perry show, et cetera, is that I think oftentimes the way that people appreciate things are when they live up to your view of them. Right? So it's like maybe the people that appreciate the Tyler Perry movies, they're going, oh yeah, this is how I see black people. And maybe the people that appreciate the Black-ish shows are like, oh, this is how I see black people.
I think that's where woke black people get offended, though, is they think white people look at black people like Medea.
Yes.
And that's the thing is like white people aren't watching Medea. White people are watching Black-ish, right? Because maybe that's closer to how they see black people. They're like, okay, I see black people existing in these white spaces, and I see them acting quote unquote black within these white spaces. But I also don't see them being like a stereotype that Medea would be. That'd be a little too far-fetched. If anything, I'd feel a little bit guilty enjoying that because it's like, is there some sort of leaning into like the extreme of a cultural stereotype?
Yeah, something I was afraid of happening was that Hollywood would see the success of Medea movies and be like, oh, let's make our own.
Yeah.
That's what I was worried about. That was my biggest issue. I was like, oh, no, we're
is that Big Mama's house?
I think Big Mama's House was Medea wasn't popping when Big Mama's House came out.
Yeah.
I think it might have been plays. I think that shit started as plays. I know
Yeah, it
Meet
did.
the Browns started as plays. Like this motherfucker is a monster.
Yeah,
dog.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's
Plays to movies to TV shows.
creative genius and business exec. It's like, it's,
No, he's a beast.
yeah.
Yeah, shit changed in terms of the perception of Tyler Perry when he built his own studio, huh?
Yep.
Second you see that studio, people are like, shit, I might have to put on one of them fucking costumes, right? Like,
Even when he had it at first, though, all of a sudden, he had to literally just start doing some Oprah shit and being like, yo, Walmart, everything y'all got on layaway, I'm paying for it. Like, that's what it took for people to be like, oh, Tyler Perry's doing it.
but it is really funny is like, you do need a show. You can't just tell, right? Like, there was this common thing you'd hear like a lot of like black entertainers saying like, I'm not going to put on a dress. And I think like Dave Chappelle got it in people's heads that like that's what the Hollywood industry tries to make you do is put on a dress. They want to emasculate black men. I don't think it was about emasculating black men. I think you could add racism into it by going what's funny or comedic juxtapositions. So what is the most masculine thing some nerdy exec sees? Probably the black male. And then what is funny to some corny exec is seeing the most masculine thing look feminine, right?
Schwarzenegger in a dress sounds funny.
Schwarzenegger
Can't hate.
dress.
Can't even knock it.
Right? Michael Cera in a dress, not funny.
There was actually
It's
a movie
close.
where Schwarzenegger got pregnant. I don't think he wore dresses and shit, but
Yeah.
there's a movie where he got pregnant.
So we're seeing Mr. Olympia, whatever that shit
Yeah.
is, Mr. Universe, dressed as a girl, right? Or pregnant as a girl. There's a comedic juxtaposition there. Now, there's an element of race and everything. You could go, why do they see black males as this hyper masculine thing that would be funny if you made them feminine? Okay, maybe you look at black males in a little bit different light
Maybe
than you
you're a
look
little
at.
scared. Maybe you're whatever.
There you go.
That's
And that is your, what is it called?
bias.
Yeah, subconscious bias
Yeah.
or something. That is that subconscious bias that they have. But I don't think it's as simple as there was a meeting where a bunch of execs were like, hey, why don't we get black people to wear wigs and dresses? That would be fun.
Yeah.
We'll emasculate all the blacks like that.
Yeah, I don't think it's happened. And then I think they touch on that too, because they're like, there was a movie, Tootsie, in 1982, where, I don't know, Michael Dorsey, some guy, he dressed up like a girl. And then you have, of course, what's the
Mrs.
comedian,
Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire. Like, it's been done. Like,
It's the corniest version of comedy. It's like, what if you look at Instagram comedians, right? Not to knock them, but like, what is the first thing they go to when they're trying to make a funny skit? Someone who doesn't really have any like comedy writing skill. What do they
Wearing
do?
dresses?
They throw a fucking wig on. They throw a dress. This is how girls act, right? It is the lowest common denominator of joke, right? Like back in the day, every comic would just do a gay voice as a joke.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious because it's a person who you do not see as gay acting gay. Right? It's just the easiest way to make a joke. If we're making fun of each other, we're going to do it in an emasculating way. That's just what happens in a locker room. Just a funny thing to do. But it is an interesting discussion, and it's cool to see them talk about it. I'd love to see them do it out of a scripted. Like, I'd love to see them have a podcast about it. And maybe both of those things are important. Maybe there's like a Martin Malcolm thing there. It's like, hey, I need to do this for us, the Malcolm approach.
Yeah,
and then
that scene really felt like that.
it felt like that. And then
it
Martin
felt
was like,
that.
I know you need to do that, but I also need to make sure there's an integration play as well. So it's like,
We should watch this episode, guys. Have a discussion on it next week. I really think there's something valuable here.